Whether you are a paying channel member, a subscriber, or just a casual viewer of the Florida Maquis, I would like to lead off this video by saying thank you to every single one of you for sticking around for the last 7 days. It should be a wake-up call for everyone. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, Florida Maquis, we haven't heard from you for a week. What happened? Where did you go? Well, the channel received a community guidelines strike. And I'm sure a lot of you are like, oh, I know why. I know why. You showed one of those images, didn't you? I knew you were going to get in trouble for that. Nope. It had nothing to do with that. You see these words on your screen? I'd love to read them for you. But it's my considered belief that just reading those words aloud might earn me yet another one. Another suspension. When you cut out a man's tongue, you're not telling the world that what he's saying is any threat. What you're telling the world is that you fear what he might say. How many of you have seen the videos? I did many of them where I used this image and said, we are heading for a new dark ages. Well, I'm going to amend that. We have arrived in a new era of the Dark Ages, a time referred to prior to the Renaissance, where people were afraid to speak. They were afraid to paint. They were afraid to sculpt. They were afraid to do or say anything that might offend the powers that be, because it carried a punishment of death. Well, guess what? That's what's going on now. That's essentially what a YouTube community guidelines strike is. Now, some are probably asking, well, Florida Maquis, if it wasn't for girls in bikinis at the beach in Florida, we know how horrible that is. What could you possibly have shown? What could you possibly have shown that would have offended the censor so badly? Well, full warning, I showed Hollywood's plastic and paint representation of what might occur during a zombie apocalypse. Did I show a video of it? No. I showed a still image of a fake representation of something that might occur during a zombie apocalypse. That was the giant threat. That was what warranted not only a warning, but also a strike. I got hit twice, literally within a matter of minutes. One for the thumbnail of the video, which showed the CGI, the graphic artist's representation of that. The thumbnail of the video, and then I also made a post promoting the video over at the communities tab. And so they decided to hit me both with the warning and then with a strike. That's where we've gone. This is why I dedicated years ago to creating a Patreon channel. Thinking, well, okay, even way back in the 1980s, we had pay-per-view channels where there were things that people thought, perhaps we shouldn't put this out in public, but that wasn't good enough. If you'd like to join us over at the Sane channel, the Patreon channel, where adults can talk, love to have you. It's only $1 per month, even less if you sign up for an entire year. Fully refundable first 90 days, no questions asked. Would love to have you over there. Believe me, I'm not feeling particularly picked on, because right before I got banned for 7 days for showing zombie images, I was talking about these 4 individuals that are from all over the spectrum, politically and topically, that you never hear from anymore. Upper right, I'm sure a lot of you are like, oh yeah, Patriot Nurse. We don't hear from her much anymore. Yeah, once in a while we'll see a post, and she does her medical training, which is fantastic, by the way. If you go look at her channel, it says 570,000 subs, 41 million views. That's after multiple waves of demonetization and strikes and being taken down. very pro-Israel, very pro-gun, very right-wing. But look in the lower left. Abby Martin. Virtually the opposite. But yet also just as shadow banned. Now, some might scratch their heads and go, oh gosh, way over to the right, shadow banned, way over to the left, shadow banned, upper left, Lindley Oz talks about Bible mysteries. Heck of a dancer, too. You go check out her channel. She does different dancing routines with different graphics, and she talks about Bible mysteries. Tries to stay mostly out of politics. 168,000 subscribers, 51 million views these days. Can't hardly get 1,000 views on any one video. And I'm sure lower right, many of you remember Jennifer Veterans for Truth. They completely shut down her for a long time. She had to appeal just to be able to get her channel put back on. Why? Well, it's something we can't even talk about. It was a solution to a problem. That's all I'm going to say. Now, Brazil, 13 September, a couple weeks ago, seized billionaire Elon Musk's money. Why? Well, they fined him. Why? Because he refused, for a time, to censor people in Brazil that Brazil wanted censored. Now, some might say, okay, that's fantastic. That's incredible. Good job, Elon, for standing up for what's right. Well, you see, I'm banned, the Florida Maquis, for life from his platform. Have been for a long time. So he does censor people. He does shadow ban people. He does delete people if you say the wrong word or express the wrong idea about the wrong group, a wrong group of people. But fast forward, 23 September 2024, Musk's X caves into Brazil. Social media platform was shut down in the country for 3 weeks for failing to censor accounts that a judge in Brazil believed to be disinfo. But now, Musk has caved because it's about the money. Florida Mikey, why are you focusing on this topic so much? Because I think it's a big deal. I think it's a huge deal. It's probably a bigger deal than anything being talked about right now. As much as I want Mr. Trump to win, many people have mischaracterized my channel because I've said, look, all of these other forces are against the guy. And there were avenues that Mr. Trump could have taken that he didn't that might have helped him. I truly believe that because of simple censorship and the control that is exerted over all of these platforms, that as much as we all might want Mr. Trump to win, and I'm going to vote for the guy. I'm going to vote for Donald Trump, absolutely. And I've expressed why I'm going to vote for him. It's because of something his wife did and said, which also goes along exactly with this topic. And why it's something that everybody should be talking about. She expressed something that I haven't heard anyone express in decades. An opinion that is so rare that to me, it's probably the single most important thing we need in the leadership of this country. Now, a lot of people came after my channel because I started talking about this in an entirely different context. How there were a lot of women in North America that because of all of the financial problems that have hit since 2020, that have taken advantage of a platform that didn't exist a long time ago when Melania Trump was on the cover of GQ and a few other magazines and posing in different states of dress that might bother some people. Well, she just released her memoirs. And they decided to say, should she, be releasing her memoirs without discussing this? And you know what she said was absolutely incredible. She didn't say, I was a victim. She didn't say, I was a victim, I was coerced, or I was poor and I was destitute and I was out of money and so I had to do this, that, and that. She didn't say that. what she said was that I would have done it regardless of the money because of the artistic value of it. And I'm proud that I did it. Now imagine anybody saying that about this these days. Melania Trump defends her past nude modeling work with references to John Collier's Lady Godiva and Michelangelo's David. She talks about it in the sense of it's artistic and should be celebrated. Now, all of you out there who attacked my channel mercilessly because I showed images like this and said, this is beautiful. If you have anything other than that in your mind, that's on you, not on them. It was just unbelievable to me that people would attack. And now, my biggest supporter, the biggest validation I have for my channel, is now coming from the former First Lady of the United States. A lot of people would like to see First Lady again. I don't think you had this on your bingo card. Now, to end this, I would like to ask my audience an honest question. You can probably pause it and look at this map critically. And it shows Democrats with 270 Electoral College votes and Republicans with 268 Electoral College votes. Now, I can select or deselect any one of these states. When I looked at everything and all of the polls are only a few weeks out, what state did I get wrong? Or did I get any of this wrong? I've given Mr. Trump Nevada, Arizona, North Carolina, Georgia, Ohio, all of these so-called toss-up states. I've given all of those to Mr. Trump. The ones that I didn't give him were Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. I think everything else is pretty much cut and dried. And even then, it's 270 to 268. If you think I've missed a state, I would love to hear why you think that's the case. If you think, for example, Trump is going to win Wisconsin, personally, the reason I don't think he can win is because of Chicago. It's so lopsided in Illinois because of the city of Chicago that all they've had to do over the last 4 years is take a whole bunch of Chicago blue Democrat voters and just register them to vote in Wisconsin instead. They have plenty of extras. Plenty of extras. They can give up thousands, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of voters out of Chicago to flip Wisconsin. Michigan, same thing, but Detroit as well. Some might question Pennsylvania. Well, Pennsylvania is surrounded by blue. I mean, they're not dumb. All they've got to do is we'll take some voters from Maryland. We'll take some voters from New Jersey. We'll take some voters from New York. And we'll just register them in Pennsylvania and have them vote there. But doesn't it bring up a bigger question? Why should it matter in a national election what state you live in? Why should it matter? But we know it does, doesn't it? We know if we take, 100,000 blue Democrat voters out of Illinois, that's not going to flip Illinois for Trump. But we do know that if we register them across state line in Wisconsin, that will flip Wisconsin easily. Same thing in Michigan. And as far as all the blue voters, all the Democrat voters in New York, it's so lopsided in New York, it's ridiculous. Same thing in New Jersey. They could easily just say, okay, we're just going to register them in Pennsylvania. It doesn't make their vote illegal. It doesn't make them not U.S. citizens. And it's a national election. I could see you making the argument that somebody who's registered to vote in Wisconsin probably shouldn't vote for the mayor of Chicago. That makes sense. But that's all that's going on. And like I said, I'll give Trump North Carolina, I'll give him Georgia, Ohio, Arizona, and Nevada. Almost the entire Sun Belt, basically, except for New Mexico. And he still loses. It's not him losing, it's really Republicans losing. Would be a better way to say that. Republicans losing. Simply because of just moving a few voters around. But once again, philosophically, in a national election, why should that matter? Why should that matter? So, I will leave it there. So, once again, we have arrived, folks. We have arrived. We are now in the new dark ages. There are people who have a lot to say, people who have a lot to contribute, people with incredible ideas, people with all sorts of imagination, people with all sorts of different perspectives who are afraid to speak now. They are afraid to speak because of the authorities. And those of you out there who are the authorities, who are listening to this video, I hope you're proud of yourself. Because you have created a new dark ages. Because of your fear of somebody saying something that may or may not be accurate, and that might influence somebody, and that somebody might do something. Because of your fear. Because, well, we just want to make sure that everybody has the right. There was a long time ago when the church cracked down on disinformation, misinformation. That they were the final arbiters of what was true and what was not true. It was called the Dark Ages. There were no paintings. There were no music. Nobody was writing anything. There were no novels created. Art died. The free exchange of information died because of people in power thinking they were the final authority on everything. So this was a message as much for those who listen to this channel with the intent on destroying it as it was for my loyal subscribers. Battlefield of the mind. It's getting serious, folks. Join us. We're going to have a gloves off discussion over at the Patreon channel. The next video, I'm going to warn you, I may have to make it for the $5 level up, folks, because the next video is going to be in honor of this suspension, is going to be way more graphic than any video in the past. And it's proof that all you need is a little speed bump. All you need is a little speed bump. And you can stop these people. I'll leave it there. God bless. Pray for each other. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. Pray for the Trumps. Pray for this country. Lift each other up. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.